Let's start it. In this session, as part of Master Snowflake Data Engineering, let's understand what are the concepts we are going to discuss. Okay, so first let me explain through the diagrammatic thing. So first we'll start with Snowflake fundamentals thing. So we are going to understand what is Snowflake, how to create an account in Snowflake. While creating account, we can choose a backend cloud for Snowflake. So currently, Snowflake is supporting three cloud environments. One is AWS, other one is Azure, and next one is GCP. Currently, it is supporting three cloud environments. So we are going to understand what is Snowflake and Snowflake cloud architecture. And then we are going to see how to create a Snowflake account, Snowflake account, Snowflake pre-trial account, and then how to connect this Snowflake. What are different ways to connect with this Snowflake? One, using Snowsite, means Snowflake Web UI. Snowflake Web UI. We call it as Snowsite. And other one, we can use different clients like DBAver and different clients, different clients. different clients. And also we can use VS Code. We can use VS Code and we can install Snowflake plugin. We can use VS Code. We can install Snowflake plugin and then we can configure Snowflake with VS Code. Then you can directly write SQL queries using VS Code. There are multiple ways. We are going to use Snowsite most of the time, Snowflake Web UI. And here we are going to use SQL. We are going to write SQL. Okay. And using this Web UI, we are going to write different SQL statements. And next one, we are going to connect different sources. We are going to connect different sources. And we do data ingestion activity. Data ingestion. We can ingest data from different sources to Snowflake environment. So we can connect different sources and we ingest data into Snowflake cloud environment. So using different approach, one is Snowflake techniques. Snowflake Snowflake techniques. Snowflake provides different techniques to load data from different sources to Snowflake environment. You can ingest data from different sources to Snowflake environment. Other approach, we can use SnowSQL. SnowSQL. We can install SnowSQL in corresponding machine. Then we can ingest data from local file system to Snowflake. Let's say you have data in Windows machine. You can install SnowSQL. Using SnowSQL, using internal and external table concepts, you can load data from local file system to Snowflake. And also we can use Snowpark. We can use Snowpark and we can create a data frames on local file system. Then you can store that data into Snowflake environment. So we use different techniques to ingest data from different sources to Snowflake environment. So as part of this complete master Snowflake data engineering, first we are going to start with introduction to Snowflake. So we are going to understand what is Snowflake, architecture of Snowflake, and key features of Snowflake. It gives basic idea on Snowflake environment. And then once we complete this one, we are going to understand introduction to data warehousing. What is data warehousing? What is the purpose of data warehousing? And what kind of operations we are going to implement on data warehousing? And then to interact with the Snowflake, you need one important prerequisite is SQL. So we are going to learn different SQL concepts as part of this Snowflake data engineering team. And then next one, we are going to ingest data from different cloud file systems. Here we are going to see learning AWS for Snowflake. So we are going to understand how to create an account, what is free type, and what is EC2, what is S3, what is IAM, how to load data into S3, and how to this data S3 to Snowflake data warehouse. And for that, what are permissions required? How to create those permissions using IAM. We are going to learn all these concepts as part of AWS for Snowflake team. Once this one is completed, we are going to see loading data into Snowflake. So we are going to see different techniques to ingest data into Snowflake. How we are going to ingest? If data is presented in my local machine, how can I load? If data is presented in AWS cloud, how can if data presented in different RDBMS, how can we load? What are different connectors available? How to use those connectors to connect to different data sources? Or what are different other approaches are available to ingest data into Snowflake data warehouse environment? Once data is loaded, how we can prepare queries to perform different operations on data presented in Snowflake? What are different environments available to write queries? One is Snowsite and other one is DBA kind of lines. And is you can use VS Code to write queries. We are going to create an environment to write queries on Snowflake data warehouse. Then we are going to discuss what are databases, what are different types of tables available, and then we are going to implement views on Snowflake. Like if we have data in Snowflake data warehouse environment, instead of exposing complete table data to the downstreams, we can create views and we can expose only few columns or few rows to the downstreams. And then once one is completed, we are going to see working with different types of data. One is JSON, CSV, and different kind of data. How to how to ingest these data into Snowflake tables. And then very important one, Snowflake storage and compute. What is storage and what is compute? How to create a compute environment with different sizes. All compute is a virtual warehouse in Snowflake, and how Snowflake people calculates pricing for compute. How Snowflake people calculates pricing for storage. And then we are going to discuss a very important one, Snowflake performance optimized queries. How to implement caching strategies in Snowflake environment. And then we are going to discuss very important is Snowflake security. How we can implement authentication and authorization access to the different users. How to create users. How to put authentication and authorization to users. And we are going to see very important one, Snowflake data sharing. We have a concept called zero copy, zero cloning technique. How we can share data sharing mechanisms. We are going to see practical example. Okay. Next, we are going to see very important one is Snowflake integration with the different tools. Like I have a data in S3, data is continuously coming. I want to load that continuous data into Snowflake tables. There is a concept in Snowflake called SnowPy. Using SnowPy, we can ingest streaming data into Snowflake environment. Once data is presented in Snowflake, then how we can implement transformations? What are different techniques we can use to implement transformations? One, we can go with the Snowflake 12 techniques, and other approach, we can use a Snowpark. We can use a Snowpark for implementing ETL operations, extracting data, transforming data, and loading them into Snowflake warehouse environment. How we can implement this Snowpark applications? Currently, Snowflake is Snowpark is providing API for Java language, Python language, and Scala language. We have to implement Snowpark with the Python language team. We are going to understand. We are going to understand Snowpark versus PySpark and why we choose Snowpark instead of Spark. What are advantages if you choose Snowpark for your ETL operations? Then we are going to see how to set up a Snowpark environment to write Snowpark applications using Python. We can use Snowflake Web UI for writing Snowpark applications. We can use VS Code for writing Snowpark applications. Once we submit Snowpark applications, what will happen? How it uses Snowflake to process Snowpark applications. What are benefits we will get when you go with the Snowpark implementation? And we are going to discuss different Snowpark use examples too. And once we complete this implementation and Snowpark implementation, then we are going to focus on important one, performance tuning with the Snowpark. How we can write optimized techniques to implement Snowpark. And then we are going to see Snowpark integration with Snowflake and other tools. And this one we already discussed. If data is continuously coming into one source, we call that is a streaming. How we can how we can read the streaming data and how we can load the streaming data into Snowflake data warehouse. Snowflake data warehouse tables. So here we use Snowpipe technique. We are going to create a Snowpipe. We are going to read this continuous streaming data and we are going to ingest into Snowflake tables. And we are going to discuss very, very important one, automating data ingestion with the Snowpipe. How we can automate when data is loaded into source, how we can automate Snowpipe to connect to source and read the data and write it into Snowflake tables. How we can automate. What are different techniques we use in Snowflake to automate Snowpipe implementation? We have different automation techniques. Snowflake itself provides inbuilt feature, and also we can use different additional features like Apache Airflow to automate this one. So we are going to see different automating techniques to automate Snowpipe when data is loaded into source, when a stream is generated, how we can use Snowpipe to connect to that stream and write it into Snowflake table. Okay. And along with this Snowpipe implementation, we are going to see if performance issues occur, how we can troubleshoot, how we can optimize that Snowpipe performance. So we are going to discuss very in depth about Snowpipe, introduction to Snowpipe, setting Snowpipe environment, and configure Snowpipe for data ingestion, automating Snowpipe, and implementing data transformations while loading, then improving performance of Snowpipe. And we are going to integrate this Snowpipe with different cloud storages. We are going to see integrating Snowpipe with S3 and integrating Snowpipe with Azure Blob, different cloud storages. And along with this one, we are going to see REST API, using Snowpipe REST API, how we can configure to get data into Snowflake environment. And we are going to discuss different Snowpipe techniques team. Once Snowpipe is complete, we are going to discuss Snowflake projects and Snowpark projects team. So total 30 chapters we are going to cover as part of mass Snowflake data engineering. Along with this one, we are going to see Python integration with Snowflake. Python integration with Snowflake. What kind of activities we are going to do with Python integration with Snowflake. And similar way, we are going to see PySpark integration with Snowflake. PySpark integration with Snowflake team. let me add some points here. So let's say this is my Snowflake environment, and Snowflake, uh, we are going to ingest data from different sources. So for ingestion purpose, we use different technologies. Let's say we have different sources. Sources may be file systems. Source may be cloud file systems. Source may be any RDBMS. Here we use data ingestion technique. This data ingestion technique, uh, we can apply in different technologies. Let's say using Python, we can implement using PySpark, and using AWS Glue, and using Databricks, and using ADF, Azure Data Factory, and different approaches we can implement to ingest data from different sources to Snowflake team. Yeah, data ingestions. Yes. So what we are going to do here, we are going to learn different Snowflake techniques, as part of our master Snowflake data engineering. We are going to see different Snowflake techniques to load data from different sources to Snowflake. Okay, we are going to see different Snowflake techniques to ingest data from different sources to uh, Snowflake environment. One uh, internal and external tables, internal or external storage concept, external stage concept, and along with the Snowflake provides different connectors. So using connectors, how we can load data from different sources, and we are going to see SnowPy for ingesting continuous streaming data, and along with this one, we are going to see SnowSQL, SnowSQL, and along with this one, we are going to see Snowpark. So we load the data into raw layer. And once data is presented in Snowflake, we are going to implement transformations. So this extraction part, we are going to implement completely with different Snowflake techniques. This extraction part, we are going to learn how we can use different Snowflake techniques to extract data from different sources to Snowflake. Once data is presented in Snowflake, we are going to implement transformations. These transformations, we can implement different Snowflake SQL queries. Using SQL queries, you can implement transformations, or you can write a Snowpark. Snowpark. Yeah. So, yeah. So we have different topics for covering the Snowpark. We start introduction to Snowpark. Then we are going to setting environment for implementing Snowpark. And we are going to write different examples to implement transformations using Snowpark. Okay. So we are going to implement different Snowpark applications. Snowpark is supporting different languages. It's supporting Java, it's supporting Python, and it is supporting Scala. So we are going to learn Snowpark with Python language. Yes. So before implementing this Snowpark, I'm going to cover Python for Snowflake, and then we are going to implement Snowpark applications as part of the Snowflake data engineering. Yeah, we have other transformation tool. It is only specialized with DBT. Sorry, it is only for performing pure transformations. There is another tool, data build tool. We can also use data build tool to implement transformations. So this one also we have a separate course, DBT. You can opt along with the Snowflake data engineering with the DBT, or you can join DBT, a separate course. We have both. Yes.